It is hot, dusty and dry. The dune mountains seem endless, the terrain impassable. Rain falls every few months. Here people live from and with the Namib, the oldest desert in the world. They mine for semi-precious stones. They struggle with drought on their farms and protect themselves from predators. They live their centuries-old traditions and explore the change of the climate, also here in the southwest of Africa. On the southern edge of the Namib near the Tiris Mountains, here live the descendants of the famous Namib wild horses. They are the passion of cowboy Emmanuel Frederick. The horses need a lot of pasture because the land here is barren and not very nutritious. The more remote and dry the area, the larger the farms. Emmanuel wants to tame a white stallion today. It has particularly good genes and could be interesting for breeding.
Because he's been a stallion now, I don't know, it's more than 10 years I think. But you have to look at his ears, how he's gonna react, so that's where you check. You don't know people for a long time, so then they can run over you. So you have to be careful.
And he has to keep his pulse rate down. Horses can smell adrenaline. That makes them aggressive, he says.
I'm gonna walk him a bit with the pet, so he's gonna get used to the pet, and then he's okay, so. I'm gonna put a saddle on him and see how he's gonna react to the saddle. I'm gonna do this so he doesn't get afraid of the feeling. Because if I pull the saddle, most of them, they jump.
Emmanuel came to the farm 5 years ago as a construction worker. He was supposed to repair fences. He feels what he can and cannot expect of the horse. The stallion must be under control. Sometimes it takes Emmanuel days to get a wild horse this far. Very important in his work, patience.
He's a good horse. He's tame and he's not spooky. He could be one of my favorites.
This afternoon, Emmanuel has to separate foals from their mothers and take them to the safe farm. A leopard is lurking in the pastures. From the Koimasis farm on the southern edge of the Namib, we travel to the Gobabeb research station in the middle of the desert, on to the elephant conservationists in the dried-up riverbed of the Ugab and to the gemstone prospectors in the Brandberg region. In the port city of Swakopmund, there are numerous testimonies of German colonial history. In Gobabeb, in the middle of the desert, research is being done by students preparing for their master's thesis and by NASA. Since then, a dune on Mars is called Namib. Biology student Martin Hanjaba is responsible for all the technology.
The thrilling one for me is when NASA came here doing their Oracle project, when they were doing flights over the coast of Namibia. The dunes here look very similar to the ones on Mars. I was taking care of their logistics, and it was a really great experience. It develops you as a scientist.
Martin is one of up to 15 students, young people who have decided to live in the desert for a few years. The weather data from Gobabeb are in demand worldwide. They provide information about climate change and global warming. A measuring device has failed at the main station. Martin got a new windmill, put it together from many parts.
You test it in the wind to see, you just hold this moving part to see if it's working, and you can tell the wind is coming from the east.
Normally something like this lasts 5 years, but not in the Namib. The constant wind sands the rotating parts after only 2 years.
Most of the students are looking at the influence of environmental conditions on the activity of organisms. And to be able to do that, you need data. This data is used by scientists the world over that want data in the Namib Desert.
The Namib is one of the driest regions on Earth. Some animals have adapted perfectly to their environment here, but they are becoming rarer and rarer. The dried-up riverbed of the Ugab in the northeastern Namib is a refuge for the last desert elephants. Herman Kasona is a ranger with the elephant conservation organisation, ERA. Fiona Touros is new. She is supposed to learn how to track elephants today. The pachyderms are constantly on the lookout for water, but sometimes destroy the wells of the locals in the process.
So we go to see that elephant dung. You see, so dry outside.
Yes.
So it means it's more than 2 to 3 days ago when the elephant passed here.
Okay.
So, because a little bit inside is still wet. Steinbock, the frangolin,
Yes.
and the ginafol. So they are eating this seed.
Okay.
There is a seed inside the poop like this.
Okay.
Seed coming from anna tree. So the birds and the baboon just come over here.
Okay, to feed from the
Yeah.
elephant dung.
And 10 years ago, every farmer was collecting these for their cattle and the goats. Yeah, that is also traditional medicine. I make a little water warm
Okay.
and
Massaging the feet.
massaging the feet with the elephant dung. So
Okay.
the next day,
It's finished.
disappear.
Only in the rainy season does the riverbed carry water. Most of the Ugab flows underground.
So there is water underneath. So I think times ago, they was digging water here. So for elephant, it's easy, found water,
Okay.
clean water here.
Herman has been with ERA for 3 years. He has been interested in the desert elephants since he was a child.
I love elephant. Elephant is a smart animal. You can't believe what elephant doing is the same like a human being. And I saw he's not scared for everything. You know, he's powerful. So that is why I'm like an elephant. Our Ugab elephant have the names when they identify the elephant from each other. So we look to the ears, and we look to the broken tusk, and we look to the tail. Benny is the oldest bull in Ugab River. So the car in front of Benny is Doris. And how we identify the female, so they are having a pointing head. If you look to the bull, have like a flat face.
Okay.
And also the ear, you can see how big is it. And also the trunk.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. This is the ID book. This is the lemur.
Each animal here is noted with its particular characteristics.
We have Hannah. This beautiful lady. Look at the tail. Tail.
Down grows long in a hand.
So all the elephants are missing down in the river.
The herd has a baby, the first since 2014. They have christened it Fiore, which means something like flower. Fiore has at least survived the first months. And then Herman has to go. an emergency. In a village nearby, elephants in search of water have once again cut a pipe.
Every time they just calling me, Herman, elephant is here, they have broke our water pipe and those kind of stuff.
Water in the desert. Nothing is more valuable here.
Okay.
Herman performs a makeshift repair to the pipe. He recommends to the village community that the pipes be connected and laid underground. The Elephant Conservation Organization, ERA, has one goal: to make people accept elephants. For this, it needs rangers like Herman. The Namib extends to the doorstep of the city of Swakopmund. The Benguela Current, coming from Antarctica, ensures that temperatures here rarely exceed 20 degrees, even in summer. Namibia was the colony of German Southwest Africa from 1884 to 1915. Along the country roads are many settlements of the Herero, a pastoral people with a long tradition. The men herd the cattle. The women, who live from handicrafts, are called Karen, Rosa, or Angela. It is not uncommon to hear stories like Magdalena Kambonga's in Namibia.
Then my father born. The people was in the camps for 1904. And mothers was inside there. And the Germans got my grandmother and make him pregnant there. That's why my father not born.
Between 1904 and 1908, the Herero and Nama people rose up against the German colonialists. Up to 60,000 of them lost their lives. The Germans forced them into the desert, left them there to die of thirst, or interned them in camps. The German government has been negotiating reparations for decades. The latest offer, 1.1 billion euros, should be paid for the development and reconstruction of the country. At his grandfather's grave, we meet Nandi Mazengo of the Ova Herero Genocide Foundation. For him, the offer is unacceptable.
That penalty is reparations. Germany does not admit that guilt. It moves on to talk about other issues of project financing and other issues and offering apology. What apology when you are denying the crime? So we are not interested in that. It has nothing to do with us. It is development aid. Two governments that are just exchanging goodies there. That has nothing to do with us.
70% of the arable land is still in the hands of white settlers, some of them of German descent. Herero and Nama, on the other hand, have often remained destitute. Herman Kasona of the Elephant Conservation Organization, ERA, is also Herero. He has a bit of land in an area that is called diarrhea in German, because during the settlement, the water brought this very diarrhea. Herman's family has lived off cattle for generations. Herman is rich in the Herero sense. He has more than 100 goats. His son takes care of them when the father is away for ERA.
My plan is every month I have to put $1,000 away from my money to buy a goat, to build a goat every month.
1,000 Namibian dollars, about 56 euros.
I'm very proud. I'm very proud.
Herero traditions are alive in his family. Bella cooks and serves. During the week, millipap, a nutritious maize porridge. Herman is the first to get a plate. The children share one. His wife Bella eats from the pot. Only the wives of the Herero are allowed to do that. Herman has also heard that his government has been negotiating with Germany for many years about the recognition of war crimes as genocide and about reparations.
What happened, it's happened and it is passed away. So we can't remind again. So we are in a free country now. We are living in a peace, all of us. Nobody wants to say who is who, all of us, we are Namibian. Better we are building something for the Namibian people. Like the education centers, like schools, like the project for the Namibian people. So that is my opinion.
In the Namib, horses are important work animals for cattle breeding. They are needed to drive the herds to other grazing areas. Emmanuel and his boss are separating foals from their mothers today. A leopard is prowling in the pastures.
Foal will try to get to the mother and maybe jump over a fence or something like that. So we have to be careful. If we separate them, finish that the foals are in a better place, safe.
His boss, Wolf Isco, is a descendant of German settlers, a fourth-generation farmer. The separation of foals from their mothers has another reason.
Because the mares are fully in foal again, and we have to tame them, of course. And that's the best age. When they're weaned, they're a little helpless. And then they take on a trainer pretty quickly.
Intuition, experience and tact are required.
If you make a small mistake, that's it. Then you have to lower the energy immediately and just pretend you're not there. This is the second time she's screwed us like this.
They want to awaken the escape instinct in the animals with rustling plastic bags. This moment is always special for Emmanuel's colleague Frida Bauer too. The Dusseldorf native has been working on the remote farm in Namibia for 3 years.
It's a very tense situation now. It always sounds worse than it is. They are now banging their hooves against the wood. Now you would say, why breed with a mare like that? But the crazy ones get their foals through better too. It's always the balance like that.
Worked.
When you see them like this, when they have such small wounds, they are almost all already a year old. They are properly busy with ranking. And accordingly, they are not exactly timid with each other.
And soon the foals will get their first lesson.
I guess it would be best to take the black one, but we will see who wants to be the first, huh? For working.
Yep.
Okay, good luck and don't die.
I try.
Of all things, the foal of the wild white mare is the first to run into the round pen, to the training ground. Emmanuel must not look the foal in the eye, because that's what the leopard does. Patiently, he just waits.
I'm surprised because she was acting crazy like her mother. She's easy now, I think. But maybe it will take me an hour, more than an hour to put on a halter because they have to trust me. They decided to try to bond with you, and you bond with them. That's when you start being more in love with a horse. She has to stay here around because it's safer here. The leopard is out there, so we don't want them to be caught. We lost many foals last year, so.
Second lesson for the foal: a rope won't hurt. Emmanuel takes care of the foals and the breaking in. Freda does the fine-tuning. When riding out with farm guests, she has to be able to rely 100% on the horses, in the Namib and in the mountains. The horses have extremely hard hooves due to heat and dryness.
This is our farrier. This is how the hooves rub off naturally.
3 years ago, Frida quit her stressful job in advertising for a life here.
The worst thing that can happen when you work in advertising is that a big company loses a lot of money and you get that sorted anyway. But if you make mistakes here, you risk the lives of people and animals. Life here is just more real.
In the pastures, Wolf Isco has discovered vultures.
I think this is a dead animal. And it really is a dead animal. It will be a mare for sure. I hope that it's not my best mare. We'll see about that right now. I know exactly which one it is. Everything's okay. Oh, it's the blondest mare I have. Yesterday, I had already seen the vultures back there, and then I knew there was something. Well, 2 days ago, she was still full of life, and now there's almost nothing left. It happens very quickly here in the desert. It's not 100% clear right now, but clear enough to say it was a leopard. It's not the biggest leopard, it's a young animal. They'll be in pairs or threes more often. So in the last 2 years I've lost a lot. I would say I've lost 90% of my foals. That was 70, 80 animals. Not just leopard. There was leopard, hyena, cheetah. Yes, but not only because of that. The drought is the first reason. The animals become weak. This year I'll lose maybe 10%. I can accept that.
4 months ago, it had rained. Good for the herd, and therefore good for the farmer. Via the Namib-Naukluft National Park, we head high into the north, to an unusual mining area near the Brandberg Massif. Amethysts, tourmalines and rock crystals are hidden in the 140-million-year-old volcanic rock. Laurie Raats caught the prospecting bug 30 years ago. Before that, he was a service manager at a local mine.
In the old times it was hard. We did not have any proper tools, and we were running out of food and everything, and we didn't find nice stones. But sometimes you work for 3 weeks, every day you work very hard, you find nothing. Then you don't feel so nice, but you know eventually you will find. You must just keep on and on and on. But I'm glad I did this direction. You can make a living off the land, in the mountains, far away from everything.
He now has 30 claims together with his sons. Today, he's out with Jody at 38 degrees.
And a druze. It's not the best, but it's something.
Oh, there's another one.
Hier rausgekommen. Wunderschön.
Yes, it's a beautiful stone. Small, but beautiful. A cluster.
I've been 20 years old. When I come here, it's about 25 years ago. I'm 47 now. And yeah, so that the stone business went straight into my blood after getting my first stone. It was feeling like a diamond you took out. It's just...
It's a very nice little scepter you find there. Small but very nice. Perfect, yeah. You can cut it out here. It will be a very nice little piece. That's very, very nice.
The find brings back memories.
It was purple and smoky mixed. It's a beautiful stone. Big, it was heavy. 50 centimeters long, about 30 centimeters wide, full of crystals and scepters. And it was worth at that time already maybe 50. And it was Saturday, we took our last petrol money. We didn't even have food. We were waiting to sell the stones so we can go buy something to eat. And it was just before 1 o'clock, and he said, "I give you a check now." And he only offered me 10,000 for that stone. You must decide yes or no.
He took the 10,000. In Namibia, car journeys of 60 kilometres can take 2 hours and longer. That's why the men have built themselves a camp in the middle of nowhere. Veronica is waiting here. The South African woman got stranded with her caravan at the gemstone diggers a year ago. They sell the stones over the internet and in their own store in the small town of Uis.
Good day.
But sometimes you get with a bubble in, it's actually a gas. It makes it more valuable.
And the various energies around them, various healing properties of different kinds of crystals. So, yeah, that's a very fascinating side.
Amethyst is said to clear the mind. Rock crystal represents clarity. Tourmaline is good for the soul. When the sun goes down, it gets cold in the Namib. From 38 degrees, the thermometer drops to 8 today. The evening is ideal for braai. We have a barbecue. Jody got homemade beef sausages from a friend.
Always prepare with enough food here. Yeah, and one thing I love is chilies and garlic. Yeah, I never come out with that stuff as well. Like a braaivleis.
It is a pristine life out here.
I mean, these guys are very capable of fixing and repairing and doing with whatever is available. And I think that's something valuable that we've lost in a modern life, because you can just buy whatever you need, and gives you a different level of grounding and takes you back to kind of your roots and what matters at the end of the day. Survival. It's a really good feeling when you've worked hard and you come home and you're exhausted.
Cheers. Coffee.
We're done. Tomorrow is another day. Okay, wait, this one is
Tomorrow, Laurie wants to go to his latest achievement, an unusual crater in impassable terrain, even more remote than the camp. In the hinterland of the port city of Walvis Bay. For centuries, the Topnar have settled here on the Kiseb River. They belong to the Nama people, among the poorest in Namibia. Martha Dowsab and her family are up early today. They want to get out to harvest. Nara melons thrive in this inhospitable region, staple food and main source of income for the family.
From that money, I pay my life insurance on my mother, my children's school fees, and other school necessities like clothes and shoes, while some of the money I put aside for buying water and the clinic. I also buy some basic foods from the money.
Nara harvest is hard-earned money. The prickly shrubs are habitat for snakes, lizards, scorpions. The Nara has not been abundant for a long time. In the past, each family had its own field. Today, large areas of the Namib are protected. The melon species is full of protein.
It builds you up. If we do not have any other food to eat, we eat the nara. And if there are no naras to eat, you are finished and do not know what to do without the nara. It is very important in our diet, and it is healthy.
After 3.5 hours, Martha is back in the village. Here she lives with her 3 children, her 86-year-old mother, nephews and nieces, almost all of them without work.
I wanted to put up a small business to attract tourists, a Topnar guest house. But someone from another region came and built one right on the doorstep. I even wanted to open a needlework centre to teach my people how to be a seamstress. I used to work at a garment factory. And when I got retrenched, I worked as domestic worker. I tried everything to make a living. I worked at the tannery and the fishing factories in Walvis Bay. I even did some catering at the Gobabeb research station here in the Namib Desert. You can cook the nara and then separate the seeds from the fruit. The sauce that you made, looking like a butternut pumpkin, can be mixed with bread flour, maize meal, or even mixed with porridge, and then you have food for the entire family.
Martha and her family dry the kernels. They are full of valuable oils and taste like almonds. They bring a little money on the market in Walvis Bay for Martha and her family. The elephant conservation organisation ERA has been supporting schools such as commodity contributions and educational work. Fiona is giving her first lesson today. Elephant education.
You know that mothers take care of their families? Yeah, the female elephants live in big groups to protect the small ones, if there is a small one. So those groups are called herds.
Students learn to live peacefully with elephants seeking water.
Comes close to you. You don't run away. You don't scream. What do we do? You give love to them. Yes, you give love to the elephants.
ERA-supported schools are a godsend for children.
I want to become a runner so I can run for our country.
That's why rhinos make me feel good and I want to save them.
I want to become a dentist because in Namibia there are few kids and adults that are having broken teeth. So sometimes they cannot eat and then they can't have a healthy body.
They understand English very well. In the other grades, they are using Kwekwe. It's a transactional class and they only know their home languages. That's why you have to use a home language that they understand.
Khoekhoegowab, that's what we want to hear. A language with many click sounds. Language of the Nama, for example. As a thank you, the 8 to 10-year-olds have a surprise for Miss Fiona. The children get 2 meals at school, also sponsored by the Elephant Protectors. Director Raushali Petersen strictly observes the rules. Praying before eating is one of them. Fresh food is cooked for the 380 students every day. Most of them don't have this luxury at home. The big ones have to eat outside. An extension is in the works. But right now, construction is at a standstill. The money is all gone, the director tells Fiona. Most of the children live in the boarding school. The parents are agricultural workers from 100 kilometres around. 40% of the population in Namibia is considered poor. Ira's school project is ideal for Fiona. She wants to become a teacher.
There's a lot of things that we, as the black community, we don't speak up about. We don't know how to take care of the environment. We don't know how to take care of each other as well. So that I must be able to help learn to love themselves, not only a teacher in class, but in the community that we live and in the society. It will help anyone to be able to express themselves. Is a place where I can help.
Further east on the Ugab River. Here, Ira has modernised an almost 100-year-old water pump for the rural population. Now volunteers from all over the world are working together to build a wall around it, an elephant protection wall.
The volunteers is very helpful. No one is absent, and everybody just carry a big rock, try to do his best. We can put this one, Andreas. Yeah, inside.
Elephants can smell water and walk through walls to do it.
When we build like this, inside wall and outside wall, and you put a little small rock inside, and you're filling up the small rock with the cement, then the wall is complete, very, very strong. Elephant, they will not push anymore.
Cement, who's?
More cement.
Herman is happy for any help.
They are really powerful girls. Strong. You can see the arm is you can see the muscles. She's very strong lady. They can carry big rocks. You can't believe it. We don't play with the rocks, guys. We use the rocks.
The volunteers spend their vacations here. They pay €950 a week for slogging.
Are you happy to build a wall? Thank you.
You really notice the sun now. It's always warmest in the afternoon.
The day before yesterday, it was 40 degrees and sunny. That's tough.
The togetherness with the people is great, and you also see what you've done directly. That's also something for the psyche, which is good for you.
As a reward, they will go elephant tracking with Herman next week. Fog in the Namib, not uncommon. High up in the mountains near the Messam crater, Laurie wants to catch the fog with nets and thus obtain water.
So, and I looked at documentaries from Morocco desert where the people gather with the same method for whole villages. They gather enough water. So that inspired me.
However, Laurie's design is not quite there yet. Too susceptible to wind and somehow the wrong material.
Because the size of the holes of the net plays a big role. Because water has got a surface tension. If the holes are too small, it doesn't run down. So it must run down and then into this tray. It's going into the water tank.
It doesn't seem to be Laurie's day, a flat tyre. But it could have been worse, like a few years ago. He was travelling in a restricted area, in a corner where no one is guaranteed to stop by.
A stone made a hole in the diesel tank and all the diesel ran out of the tank. We had not one drop of diesel, so we could not go any further. We decided we'll have to make a camp there, and then I said we must go and gather wood because there's a lot of lions in the area so that we can make some fire in the night. No guns, we had nothing. We grab a tire lever, if a lion comes, he said you can fight. So we walked all the way to the water and we got some water. We took all the containers that we had and filled it with water and took it back to the place. And after 4 days, one of the nature conservation guys came past us and he helped us. Done.
Laurie is constantly on the lookout for new mining areas for his semi-precious stones. he has discovered a remote crater on Google Earth.
I made my own little road and I eventually found the place. It did not make sense to me geologically because this is a volcanic area and this white spot should not be there. What could it be? Is that quartz or is it that? Where I came in and I saw, I immediately fell in love with the place.
He leases the land and even composes a song for his crater. Laurie loves the solitude in the mountains. He doesn't really need anything more than his guitar.
I'm not good with words really. I'm not influenced by radio or TV, and I try to create a new song and it comes out of the universe somewhere, the tune, somewhere in my head, the melody. I want to make a meditation center here for people, make some events nice like drumming, feel the crystal power, because there's mountains here around is full of crystals.
As soon as the 68-year-old has enough money, he wants to get started. Laurie wants to build houses out of bamboo, extract water from fog, and thus realise his lifelong dream. On Khoimasis, the herd drive is being prepared. Before that, some cattle are sold. Emmanuel has them loaded.
There's an auction in Marinda, so some auctions are good, some prices they are going up and down, so if you have the right timing to sell them, then you have to sell them.
Emmanuel is now Farmer Isco's right-hand man. For the other cattle, it means off to the next pasture. All around the farm, the grasses have been eaten away. Emmanuel has to find a new place for the animals. The cattle drive is the highlight of farm life for everyone.
Das ist, was ich am liebsten mache.
This is what I like to do most. You can't do this in Europe. This is mega cool.
Das ist einfach mega cool.
My dream is for me to become a better horsemanship and to be known as a horseman guy and be a good cowboy.
And of course, Emmanuel dreams of having his own farm for himself and his family, with cattle and horse breeding, here on the edge of the Namib. Maybe he can afford it here one day. In one of the most remote parts of Namibia, no friends just around the corner, hot, dry, and hardly any rain. No proper internet, but a life in nature. A life in the desert.